Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty is known for his social media presence. The last time I checked was around the last time I was checking social media every day. He posts content that consistently focuses on self-reflection. Something about his content and the one episode he had on impact theory, which was pretty compelling, gave me the impression that this guy is gonna put out a book one day, and I'm afraid it might be just some generic hodgepodge of life lessons packed in short stories that are told in a way that makes them either sound seriously mundane or mundanely serious. Is that what this book is? During the introduction, I was hit with the realization that that might not be the case, where he was talking about like how normal people are dropping out of their glorified, typical American lifestyles to become monks. Yes, monks. Software developers, guitarists, preschool teachers, surgeons. Jay Shetty, this guy traveled for years with Hindu monks, meditating daily for hours, living in and out of gym lockers, and he learned a lot. Like a lot. But what he learned is obviously what he's willing to share. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button. In this book, Jay Shetty wants to help us connect with the timeless wisdom of an ancient scripture he studied in what's called the ashram, which I looked it up. It's a spiritual hermitage, or monastery in Indian religions, along with other teachers that held a basis to his studies as a monk and have a significant relevance to what we go through every day. So, is that mundane? Is it? I guess. But there's just a lot of substance to go around. And let's unravel that substance, shall we? In this review, I'm going to talk about some things I learned from the book, what surprised me, because I was definitely surprised. I was worried this would just be things I've heard, but if you ask me from experience, and I think this shouldn't be a surprise, this book really is about how to think like a monk. That and smashing the like button in case you haven't already, for the YouTube algorithm. If you don't smash it, would you at least meditate on it? Get it? Meditate, monks, they meditate. Sugar, am I funny? No. Okay. She's looking the other way. There are three parts. The first one's called Let Go, the second one's called Grow, and the third one's called Give. The first chapter is called Identity. It talks about cultural norms, why they exist, why we're not happy with our jobs, why we're not happy where we live, why our jobs feel hollow, why we're not happy with our spouses, and whether we want what we actually say we want. I feel like most of America is just a lie. I mean, like weekdays, work weeks, money, credit, marriage, debt, corporations, universities, maybe the government. Like these are all real. Don't get me wrong, but like there's a degree to which they're all just part of a script, a belief system. And I knew about some of the things I just mentioned, but Jay just talks about it in a way that's like, it reflects what it means to think, to truly think for oneself. It's insane. Well, actually, it's the opposite of insane. In this chapter, he talks about values and priorities and how what we spend our time and money on reflect our values. Chapter 2 is called Negativity. There is some extremely like real talk in this book. I know the verbiage real talk might sound a little vague, but like, it's just very golden information, and he tells stories with his time with monks that are relatable in ways you wouldn't really expect. And what I love about this is that he does it in a way that doesn't just tell you how to think like a monk, but why and what it can do for you. Chapter 3 is fear. Have you ever been really scared? Most people have. I know I have. My girlfriend hates that I refuse to watch horror movies with her. There are so many movies that most people would not even consider horror movies that I am terrified of watching. But have you ever been scared and asked yourself why? The reason I'm scared of any of those things, that's a different video topic, but some people have asked themselves why they're scared, and most of the time their answers are, it's just like a branch. In this chapter, Jay Shetty talks about the differences between branches and roots. He has so many dichotomies like this in the book. It's very interesting, but bottom line, most of your biggest fears really just have to do with some internal struggle or struggles you face. And when you can look at it that objectively, things start to make sense like they never have before. Chapter 4, is it chapter 4? I think it's chapter 4. 1, 2, 3. 4. Intention. The main idea of this chapter reminds me of something I think I heard once from Jim Rohn. I think it was something like, don't pay for the book, pay for how reading the book. I love what he says about age in the purpose chapter. Because of standardized testing, performance reviews, and self-improvement efforts even, it's like we think things like, I should be further ahead by now. If you want a good book on this, check out The Subtle Art by Mark Manson. In Routine, he talks about surprise, an ideal daily routine, and why it's important, and he does this in a way that I swear I have not heard before. Here's one part that stood out. The last thing you need to do when you wake up is stumble into tragedy and pain courtesy of news headlines and friends venting about gridlock on their commute. Looking at your phone first thing in the morning is like inviting 100 chatty strangers into your bedroom before you've showered, brushed your teeth, and fixed your hair. Do you really expect yourself to emerge from that state and have a pleasant, productive day? There are certain studies about how beyond $75,000 a year, your well-being isn't really affected by your income. Anecdotes like the one about two wolves. One of them is joyful and blissful, it represents peace and light, and the other one, bitter and resentful, it represents greed and selfishness. And they're both at war with one another, and the one who wins is the one that you feed. And facts, like the fact that human beings have between 50 and 70,000 conscious thoughts a day? I've heard these before in multiple books, but Jay knows how to twist them and interpret them in unique ways. I found it hard to explain how, but it's really impressive. Sort of a random question, by the way, for anyone who's very familiar with Jay's content and also checked out this book. Was it worth it? Has he already said all of this or most of it before? Or was there something new and different that you weren't expecting? Please let me know in the comments below. Part 3 is Give. And the gratitude chapter is fire. If there could only be one chapter in this book and I could choose which one it would be this one. It's easily my favorite. I don't remember the last time I heard a bad gratitude chapter in a book. The biggest thing I learned from the relationships chapter is that if you don't know yourself all that much, you won't know what you want and you will send out the wrong signals and attract the wrong people. Have you ever broken up with someone and the more you learn and grow, the more you begin to realize what you could have done differently? And not as important, but what they could have done differently, and how much it was really meant to be, if anything. If not, why? And by the way, there's advice, exercises and stuff like that to help increase your sense of each of these things. The gratitude, the relationships, the fear. Well, not increasing fear, but improving them, actually. Just your mind, the ego. There are some parts in the service chapter where he talks about charity, and I found it interesting how less fortunate people are more likely to give than fortunate people, but more fortunate people make over 70% of the overall contribution. This is another reason I love money and talk so much about money on this channel. Something else I found interesting is when he advised talking about the service and giving and charity that you do. I've heard other people say not to do this because it's self-glorification and it's conceited. But I think he wants us to do it for the sake of those that it inspires. This book teaches a lot of things that by the end of it you may find yourself wondering more about, like how to make more thoroughly considered decisions. Thoroughly because of course they're based on what you as a person value. Searching deeper into the true intention and purpose of your actions, asking yourself questions that better fit the fulfillment of your needs and wants, and as cliche as it sounds, finding yourself. I heard Jay Shetty say once that he wants to make self-reflection mainstream. Kind of like how I tell people in my videos that I want to make self-growth normal. In the book at some point, I think he refers to it as making wisdom go viral. I gotta admit, I can't say I didn't imagine myself listening to the audio version. What if I spent a couple years in my 20s living with monks, maybe tens of thousands of miles away from eastern Pennsylvania? It's evident that this guy is coming from a set of circumstances that wasn't only extreme, but chosen, and yet he came to it from another one that was phenomenally different, and it changed his mindset so much when he went back to it, like you probably expect. But all of the things, the relationship, the mind, the ego, the fears, the giving, the service, those changed as well. Whatever he's doing to make that dream a reality, I'll put it this way: Think Like a Monk is a step in the right direction for sure, and I hope that my review helps kind of push it along further. quotes. The one thing that stays with you from the moment you're born to the moment you die is your breath. When you learn to navigate your breath, you can learn to navigate any situation in life. I'm not what I think I am, and I'm not what you think I am. I am what you think I am. Once you realize a complainer isn't looking for solutions, you shouldn't have to provide them. The grass is greener where you're watering. Fear will get the worst of the best of us. If we're only excited when people say nice things about our work, it's a sign that we're not passionate about the work itself. You can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are. We tend to expect a person to be the complete package, giving us everything we need. This is setting the bar impossibly high. It's as hard to find that person as it is to be that person. You're not saving anyone by helping them. You need help as much as they do. Life isn't going to go your way. You have to go your own way and take life with you. Direction 1. I recommend this book for anyone who's finally just craving a little bit more depth in his or her life. Direction 2. Certain things in this book, like the emphasis he puts on introspection, really examining what's under your skin but addressing it in like a healthy way. It reminded me of Brené Brown. If you like this book, you might like The Power of Vulnerability or Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. I also thought a lot about The Book of Joy by Doug Abrams, Dalai Lama, and Desmond Tutu, listening to that one chapter about service. Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If you guys buy anything through the links in the description, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.